Stop trying to win every argument. Stop bleeding energy into being the loudest voice in a room that isn't listening. Stop proving your right. Start inspiring loyalty. Because the ones who matter don't follow your words. They follow your integrity. They follow the calm within you when chaos could have won. They follow the way you speak when you're angry, and whether your fire heals or burns. People don't remember correctness. They remember character. They don't quote your opinions. They quote your presence. Let go of the obsession to be right, and embrace the intention to be real. There is a rare kind of power in the one who doesn't need to dominate to be respected, who doesn't need applause to feel secure. Most people shout to hide their emptiness. The wise learn to whisper truth into silence and let it echo in the soul. You will not earn loyalty by being clever. You earn it by being constant, by being that one person who does not shift like sand when storms arrive. Loyalty is born not from fear, not from persuasion, but from emotional safety. And emotional safety begins when someone sees that your strength is not a weapon, but a refuge. Never trust the ones who delight in sharing what others confided in them. Because if they can turn someone else's truth into entertainment, they will turn yours into ammunition. Some people carry poison in their smile sand. They wait for the moment you let down your guard to drink from their charm. Stay kind, but stay guarded. The world will demand your vulnerability before it has earned your trust. Do not hand over the keys to your peace just because someone knocks gently. Look into their eyes, not how they speak, but how they sit in silence. Not how they react to your joy, but how they respond to your pain. There is more honesty in a pause than in a polished speech. More truth in the way someone listens than in the way they praise. And sometimes, the people who interrupt you the most are the ones who hear you the least. So, protect your words. Give them to those who treat them like seeds, not bullets. Understand this. You don't need a crowd to validate your clarity. The right people will see it without you needing to explain. The wrong people wouldn't see it if you built them a museum of your intentions. So stop decorating your soul for those who are blind to it. The ones who belong in your life won't need to be convinced. They'll feel the honesty in your silence and the loyalty in your absence. You will never have to force respect. The person who walks with quiet dignity commands more attention than the one who screams for it. There is something magnetic about a soul that has mastered its own emotions. Someone who is no longer reactive, but responsive, who doesn't chase arguments, but observes patterns, who doesn't crave revenge, but chooses understanding. That's the person people trust. That's the person they follow, not because of dominance, but because of presence. Success hugs you in private. Failure slaps you in public. But character follows you into every room and echoes after you've left. Reputation is a photograph. Character is a film. And what you are in stillness, in loneliness, in silence, that's the truth. That's the story they'll remember. Let them misunderstand you. Let them think they won. Let them talk. You don't need to interrupt the noise. You just need to outlive it. The truth doesn't expire. The truth doesn't need marketing. It shows up when everything else has crumbled, and it remains long after lies have run out of breath. So hold it, nurture it, be loyal to it. You don't win people through proof. You win them through presence. You win them by how you treat them when you don't have to. How you show up when no one is watching. How you choose humility when your ego is screaming for victory. The soul doesn't respond to logic, it responds to energy, and your energy never lies. It either heals or harms. It either lifts or drains. It either connects or controls. Our thoughts make us what we are, but our reactions shape how others feel in our presence. And every room you enter asks one silent question. Is this person safe? Not safe as in weak, but safe as in honest, as in grounded, as in real. You don't need to solve everyone's problems. You just need to stop being one of them. Be the person who stays calm when others panic, who stays silent when others insult, who stays grounded when others provoke. Because peace is magnetic, stillness is rare, and in a world addicted to noise, your calm will be unforgettable. It will be the one thing they crave but cannot imitate. Only you can bring peace to yourself. And when you truly do it, begins to spill into others. People will feel it in your handshake, in the softness of your gaze, in the patience behind your words. You will stop being impressive and start being impactful. The greatest power you will ever hold is not the ability to prove someone wrong. It's the ability to make them feel seen without needing to be seen yourself. To be light in the room, not lightning. To be presence, not performance. To be the reason someone breathes easier, not faster. And the strange thing is, when you no longer need to be right, you become a mirror for truth. Because people trust the ones who don't need to win. You do not lead by controlling outcomes. You lead by controlling your own energy. You lead by embodying what others are afraid to say. By walking away when your pride says stay. By forgiving when the world says punish. By rising when the wound says collapse. You lead when you've suffered, but you don't make others pay for it. No matter what happens, always be yourself. Not the reactive version, not the polished mask, but the one that speaks softly to children, that listens carefully to strangers, that tells the truth even when it costs. The one that doesn't compete, but completes. That doesn't push, but plants. That doesn't argue, but anchors. Because in the end, no one remembers the one who was right. They remember the one who was real, the one who was safe, the one who inspired them not to agree, but to grow. And that's the mark of real influence. When your life becomes the permission for someone else to step into theirs. Stop proving, start embodying, stop defending, start deepening. Loyalty doesn't come from domination, it comes from devotion, from consistency, from the sacred art of being someone others don't have to tiptoe around. You don't have to fight for loyalty. You just have to deserve it. And to deserve it, you must be the same person when you win as when you lose, when you're praised as when you're ignored, when you're loved as when you're misunderstood. That's when loyalty shows up, not because they fear you, but because they feel you. And the moment you realize that, you'll stop chasing crowds and start building kingdoms of trust, quietly, deeply, permanently, because it is not the volume of your voice that leads people, but the weight of your spirit. It is not charisma that keeps people close, it's character, and character cannot be mimicked, it cannot be manufactured. It is revealed when no one is applauding. It is seen in how you act when you're tired, how you speak when you're angry, how you treat others when you have nothing to gain. You want to build something that lasts? Then build something that doesn't require a stage to stand tall. Build something within that doesn't shake when the world stops clapping. People don't stay for your opinions, they stay for your honesty. They don't stay because you know everything, they stay because you own what you don't. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's the most human strength. The courage to say, I don't know, without shrinking. The wisdom to say, I was wrong, without losing yourself. The grace to say, I'm still learning, without shame. You will never inspire true loyalty by being flawless, but you will inspire it by being faithful to your growth, to your integrity, to your evolution. Do not waste your power on proving. That's the language of insecurity. Proving is what we do when we've forgotten we already are. When you know who you are, you no longer need to argue with those who don't. You simply live in alignment, and let your life become the evidence. Your calm becomes the proof. Your consistency becomes the sermon. Your presence becomes the lesson they weren't ready to hear. Every soul around you is secretly asking, "Can I trust you with my truth?" And most people don't need a genius. They need gentleness. They need someone who won't twist their pain into a point. They need someone who won't weaponize vulnerability into leverage. They need someone who can hold space without taking control. That is the new strength. Not the loudest in the room, but the one who makes the room feel safe enough to breathe. And in this world of artificial smiles and masked intentions, authenticity is radical. It pierces through the noise like a flame in a cold room. But make no mistake, it will also make you a target, because your honesty will expose the games others are still playing. Your kindness will shame the manipulation others rely on. Your peace will unsettle the chaos they've normalized. But don't dim for their comfort. Your light is not too much. Their darkness is just unready. Hold your boundaries with grace. Say less with more weight. Give without expectation. Listen without interruption. And when they walk away, let them. Not everyone is meant to understand the rare kind of strength that doesn't need to be understood. You were not born to be loud. You were born to be true. And when you're true, everything that is false falls away. People will try to project their insecurities onto you. Let them. Let them accuse. Let them misunderstand. Let them spin their stories. You don't owe them defense. You owe yourself peace. And peace is preserved not by fighting, but by choosing what is worthy of your response. When someone disrespects you, do not rise to meet them in the pit. Stay tall. Stay silent. They will choke on their own venom. Because when a calm soul refuses to react, it forces the chaos to face itself. You owe no one a reaction, but you owe yourself your evolution, and that evolution will cost you the need to explain. Not everyone deserves front-row access to your energy. You are not a public resource. You are a sacred space. You are not here to be everything to everyone. You are here to be whole, with or without their understanding. Choose people who make your soul feel like home, and walk away from those who leave you doubting your worth. Loyalty begins inside. You will never receive it from others until you show it to yourself. Be loyal to your peace. Be loyal to your path. Be loyal to your boundaries. Speak kindly to yourself in the places no one else hears. Show up for yourself when no one else does. That is the foundation, because the way you treat yourself sets the tone for every connection in your life. And never forged emotional maturity is not about suppressing emotion. It's about managing it with wisdom. It's about knowing that you can feel everything and still choose your response. That your triggers are not your truth. That you are not your anger, you are the witness of it. You are not your pain, you are the healer of it. You are not your past, you are the author of what comes next. Let others gossip. Let others compare. Let others chase the shallow. You are building something they can't see, something eternal, something internal, a quiet empire of values, discipline, and trust. The world may not celebrate it, but the right people will recognize it. And those people, they are not drawn to your ego. They are drawn to your essence. They don't care about how much you know, they care about how safe they feel in your presence. They don't follow because you impress them. They follow because you center them. They trust you because you don't use your wisdom as a weapon. You use it as a light. Speak with intention. Move with integrity. And above all, feel without drowning. Rise without crushing. Give without losing. Love without needing. That is the art of being human. That is the strength of the healed. And when in doubt, remember, the people who truly matter are not watching how you shine in success. They're watching how you stay grounded in failure. They're watching how you treat others when no one's looking. They're watching how you hold yourself when your name is not in the room. And those moments, they build a legacy far beyond applause. So, stop proving. Start becoming. Let your actions finish every sentence your ego wanted to argue. Let your integrity answer every insult your pride wanted to avenge. Let your peace finish the battles your past tried to resurrect. You don't need to fight when you're free, and you don't need to prove when you're whole. Because the highest form of strength is not domination, it is self-possession. It is the rare power of a soul who knows where it stands even when the ground shakes. It is the stillness of a man who does not flinch when questioned. The serenity of a woman who no longer shrinks when doubted. The unshakable knowing that truth does not scream, it simply remains. There is no force stronger than someone who is anchored within. You were not born to be liked by everyone. You were born to be true to something far greater than popularity. The applause of the world is fleeting, but the approval of your own conscience is forever. And there is no pillow softer than a clear mind, no armor stronger than clean hands, no reward richer than living in alignment with your own values. What they think is noise. What you know in your heart is the compass. In a world obsessed with image, be substance. In a culture addicted to attention, be presence. In a society chasing perfection, be real. Because the more you learn to love your unfiltered truth, the less validation you will need from artificial voices. You will stop dressing your spirit to fit into spaces that don't even deserve your shadow. When people leave you, let them go with grace. Some exits are divine protection. Not everyone is meant to walk with you past the chapter they arrived in. Some people are lessons, not life partners. Some are mirrors, not companions. And the more you cling to what has expired, the more you rot with it. Let them misunderstand you. Let them mislabel you. Let them write your story wrong. Time has a way of revealing everything. You don't need to rush to be understood. You only need to remain authentic. The deepest kind of confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to declare itself. It doesn't walk into a room announcing its worth. It simply is. And those who are awake feel it immediately. It's in your posture, your stillness, your refusal to participate in gossip, your ability to listen without the need to speak, your decision to choose peace even when you could cause a storm. This is the energy that inspires loyalty, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. The strongest people are not the ones who throw their weight around. They are the ones who carry their emotional weight with dignity, who hold space for their own shadows, who don't make others bleed for wounds they haven't healed. The ones who choose to build instead of break, to understand instead of assume, to stay soft in a world that praises hard hearts. They're rare, but when you meet them, you never forget the way they made you feel safe to be human. This is how you rise, not by climbing over others, but by lifting your standards. By choosing who gets access to your heart not based on history, but on consistency. Loyalty is not owed, it is earned, breath by breath, through honesty, through presence, through care. You don't earn it by being impressive. You earn it by being dependable. Every time you withhold a reaction, you're building emotional wealth. Every time you respond with kindness when you could retaliate, you're training your spirit in mastery. Every time you walk away from drama, from gossip, from chaos, you are choosing the long road of legacy over the short hit of validation. This is the hidden path, the quiet trail where real influence is born, not in being right, but in being rooted. Do not chase the spotlight. Chase depth. Chase meaning. Chase the kind of inner alignment that no camera can capture, but every soul can feel. Let your life be so honest, so whole, so rooted in love and self-respect that even your silence feels like a sanctuary. And when you're tempted to explain yourself, don't. Let your growth confuse them. Let your elevation irritate their insecurity. You were not born to be explainable. You were born to be expansive. And expansion requires release of approval, of needing to be liked, of shrinking for anyone's comfort. There is a dignity that comes when you no longer need revenge, when your peace is more valuable than your pride, when you'd rather walk alone with truth than be surrounded by applause built on lies. You begin to understand that being misunderstood is a sign that you're finally living authentically. That clarity costs community. That growth invites separation. And that loyalty, real loyalty, cannot be manipulated. It must be earned. The people who are meant for you will never ask you to be less. They will never punish your honesty or compete with your joy. They will admire your boundaries. They will protect your softness. They will water your growth and celebrate your light without needing to dim theirs. These people you don't need to convince. You just need to recognize them. And until then, be so loyal to your own becoming that loneliness doesn't scare you anymore. Because once you stop needing company to escape yourself, you begin attracting people who feel like home, not distraction. And home is not a place seats, a presence. It's a vibration. It's the feeling of being seen without having to perform, of being valued without needing to earn it. That kind of connection begins with the connection you cultivate within. So talk to yourself gently. Show up for yourself consistently. Tell the truth even when it shakes your voice. Stand up for your boundaries, even if your knees tremble. And most of all, keep your inner world clean. Not perfect, just clean. Free of resentment, free of bitterness, free of borrowed beliefs that tell you you're not enough. Because every time you clean the windows of your inner world, you see others more clearly. You no longer react to their projections. You see them as they are, hurt, healing, human. And from that place, you stop needing to win. You start wanting to understand. You start seeing that real leadership isn't about followers, it's about presence, about healing your energy so deeply that others find healing just by standing next to you. You become a mirror, not a megaphone, a sanctuary, not a stage, a light, not a spotlight. And from that place, loyalty flows not from fear, not from force, but from felt safety, from real love, from the kind of respect that needs no contracts, only consistency. Because when you stop trying to prove yourself to the world, you start proving something far more important to your soul. You begin to live in quiet allegiance with the truth that does not bend. You begin to walk with a dignity that cannot be borrowed, a peace that cannot be traded, and a loyalty that begins not with others, but with the you beneath the roles, beneath the masks, beneath the performance. This is where the real journey begins. In silence, in stillness, in the sacred moments when you stop reaching outward and start returning inward. You realize the battles worth fighting are not the ones that earn you applause. They're the ones that restore your alignment. Not every fight is yours. Not every invitation to defend is sacred. Sometimes the greatest power is in the pause. The breath you take before the storm, the decision not to engage, the wisdom to let others choke on their own noise while you build something eternal in the quiet. You are not here to decorate your life with distractions. You are here to design it with intention. You are not here to impress crowds. You are here to impact souls. The real ones. The ones who feel energy, who read between words, who recognize truth not because it's shouted, but because it vibrates. You will not find these people by pretending. You will not keep them by performing. You will not attract them through your cleverness. You will attract them through your coherence, your clarity, your inner stillness. Because in a world that thrives on spectacle, the soul still craves sincerity. And sincerity cannot be faked. It cannot be bought. It is the currency of the rare. So let your life become that currency. Not flashy, not loud, but real. A life so honest, it no longer needs explanation. A life so grounded, it teaches others how to root. A life so full of quiet love, it creates its own gravity. And those meant for you will feel it and stay, not because you demanded, but because you embodied. And when you lose people, don't panic, don't chase, don't shrink. Some people were only ever meant to meet the past version of you. They cannot breathe in your higher atmosphere. Do not descend to make them comfortable. Evolution is not betrayal. Growth is not cruelty. You are allowed to outgrow connections. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to walk away from what doesn't respect your becoming, because your becoming is sacred, and it requires space, stillness, protection. You cannot build a palace with the hands of those who only know how to tear down. You cannot rise in the presence of those who only understand your past. The old version of you is gone, and with it, the need to explain why. When you stop proving, you start choosing. Choosing peace over pressure. Choosing depth over noise. Choosing clarity over chaos. And suddenly, your circle changes. Your standards rise. Your life becomes cater, but richer. Smaller but deeper. Simpler, but infinitely more powerful. Because your peace, once hard-earned, becomes non-negotiable. And from that place, you begin to lead. Not from authority, but from authenticity. Not from control, but from consistency. Not from being above others, but from being fully with yourself. That's what people feel. That's what they remember. Not your highlight reel, but your home frequency. The way your presence made their spirit breathe easier. The way your words didn't rush to fix, but simply made space. The way your eyes said, "I see you," without judgment or agenda. This is influence, not manipulation, not strategy, but soul. The kind of influence that echoes, that roots itself in someone's heart long after your name is forgotten. That builds loyalty, not through speeches, but through being the kind of person someone wants to stand beside when everything else falls apart. Because presence heals more than advice ever will. And the ones who stay, they don't need perfection. They need permission to be real, to be messy, to not have it all figured out. And when you offer them that space, when your life whispers, "You're safe here," you become unforgettable. So live like that, love like that, listen like that, lead like that. No more fighting to be heard. No more begging to be seen. No more bending for those who refuse to meet you in the middle. You are not a performance. You are a presence. You are not here to prove. You are here to be. And the more you become, the more everything unlike you will fall away. And as more falls away, something ancient within you begins to resonate. Noise, not reaction, not performance, but presence. A steady fire, a clear bell, a truth that doesn't tremble, even when the world around you does. You begin to feel it in your chest this deep, rooted knowing that you are no longer who you were, and you don't need permission to evolve. When you no longer seek to be right, you become free to be real. And in being real, you become rare. And what is rare does not chase, it attracts. It does not demand, it commands quietly. Through consistency, through values, through a spirit that is untouchable by circumstance. Because everything external is temporary. The praise, the followers, the applause, the opportunities, all of it. But who you are when no one is watching, that's what defines your legacy. It's not your resume that lives on. It's your ripple, your impact on the invisible, the unspoken safety people felt in your presence, the unseen ways you made people feel less alone. That's what remains. That's what loyalty is built on. Not fear, not hierarchy, but quiet, soul-level trust. You earn that trust not by saying the right things, but by living them, by showing up when it's inconvenient, by staying soft when it's easier to harden, by listening when silence feels uncomfortable, by telling the truth even when a lie could save face. That's what people follow. Not the loud, not the clever, but the true. And when the moment comes, and it will, when someone tests your growth, when life dares you to regress, remember this: you are no longer available for anything that requires you to abandon yourself. You don't raise your voice, you raise your standard. You don't chase understanding, you rest in self-awareness. Some people will call your calm arrogance. Let them. Some will call your boundaries distance. Let them. Some will call your clarity cold. Let them. They are not yet fluent in the language of self-respect, but you are. You've spent too long shrinking, too long explaining, too long proving that you're enough. That chapter is over. This new one is silent, powerful, aligned. You are now the sanctuary you once begged others to be. You are the grounding you once searched for. You are the loyalty you once wept over. It's been born within you, not through ease, but through everything that tried to break you. You didn't just survive, you refined. And now you walk differently. Not faster, not louder, but with weight. Your footsteps don't echo because they're heavy. They echo because they're honest. Because every decision is built on who you are, not who you're trying to impress. You know now, there is no peace in pretending. There is no rest in performance. There is no joy in being liked for a version of you that isn't real. So you've stopped curating. You've stopped adjusting your tone to fit rooms that do not deserve your voice. You've stopped explaining your value to people who can't even see their own. Now you move for truth, not for optics. Now you give out of overflow, not obligation. Now you choose relationships that nurture your nervous system, not your ego. Because you've learned deeply, painfully, beautifully, that your peace is the price of loyalty. And anyone who asks you to trade it isn't loyal at all. This is the birth of a new way of living, where every yes is holy, where every no is clean, and where every step forward is guided not by fear, but by resonance. You are no longer forcing connection. You are aligning with it. You are no longer available for chaos disguised as passion. You are no longer seduced by potential. You are magnetized by consistency. Because real ones don't sell you dreams, they show up. You're not here to be everything to everyone. You're here to be truthful to a few. You're here to live a life that feels good on the inside, just impressive on the outside. You're here to create impact that outlasts applause. And that begins, not with others. It begins with the vow you make to yourself every morning to never again betray your own soul for a moment of external validation. Keep your word to yourself. That's loyalty. Honor your boundaries when no one's watching. That's self-trust. Stand tall in your truth even when it makes others uncomfortable. That's leadership. And breathe deeply, knowing that everything you are building, though quiet, though slow, though unseen's real. It is grounded, and it will last.